What's up, everyone, and welcome to Writing Our Way Out, the podcast. My name is Dave Chauvin, and on this show, we explore all of the conditions, traps, and turning points on the path to prison in America and the way to be free. Today's episode, Warriors or Guardians? After Michael Brown, a black man, was fatally shot by Darren Wilson, a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, President Barack Obama created a task force on 21st century policing. Its central theme: police should be guardians, not warriors. 5 years after that report came out, George Floyd, another black man, was killed by another white police officer, Chauvin, in another city, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Many other men and women, boys and girls died in between. Too many to list here. Is it possible to retire the warrior? What would it take to create a force of guardians? On the show with us today are three co-authors of Writing Our Way Out, Memoirs from Jail, who have faced those conditions, traps, and turning points, many of them with the police more than once. Stan Craddock is in the house. Now, you've heard Stan on this show before, but one thing you might not know about Stan, and this is true, Stan was once mistaken for a police detective. Stan, I guess you got the look, huh?
Well, I had the professional look, and then I understood that there was a role that I needed to play, and I accepted the part like Denzel. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, we've also got Dean Turner in the house, bringing some of that New York state of mind to the session. Hey, Dean, there's a mayor's race in New York City this year, but I heard in the Times no one seems to care. What's up with that? Have you ever heard of a New Yorker without an opinion?
Never. Never. We always got something to say.
I know, and I hope we're going to hear some of that tonight from you.
Are you definitely going to hear some of that tonight? You're definitely going to hear some of that tonight.
All right.
Yeah, you're definitely going to hear some of that tonight.
All right. Also joining us is Coach KB, my man, Kelvin Belton. Hey, Kelvin, you remember that old public service announcement asking kids what they wanted to be when they grow up? The one you wrote about in the book?
Yeah. That's one of the moments in the book that I never forget. I just could relate to it because not about the specifically about the person that was using drugs, but just running from the police. That part will always be the most memorable writing I have in the book.
Yeah. And you know, a show about policing would not be complete without a police officer. And we got one tonight with us. We got a good one. We got Farad El-Amin. He's a community relations officer for the Richmond City Police Department and a graduate of Virginia Commonwealth University. El-Amin, you remember we met before the pandemic on campus when you came to my class and we could talk face to face? You remember those days pre-pandemic?
Yeah, when you could talk, see people without a mask, without a computer screen.
Right.
Yeah, good old days. I remember.
That's what we did.
It was an awesome experience. I met Coach KB over there too.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well,
how's your grandson doing, man? Was it your nephew?
No, my grandson. We had it right. He's doing good. He's doing much better, much less of a knucklehead, and he's doing what he got to do in school and everything. He's not playing any more sports though, but he's doing what he got to do.
Okay, all right. I got to take him over to Manny's gym a couple of times. He seemed like a real cool kid. He ain't seem like he was getting in trouble. But I've been fooled before. But I'm sure he's doing all right.
It was just the want to do certain things. It was just the want to be a certain way. But he's still a good kid. And I never got a chance to talk to you since then. I won't thank you again for that.
Ain't no problem, man. Ain't no problem at all.
That's good to reconnect on that stuff. That's
okay.
Cool. Yeah, that's what's up. So fellas, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot to figure out. And I don't want to be inviting you all back here on this show in another 5 years to read the same introduction I just did with changing a few names. You know, we got to move beyond this. We got to get past what we're doing right now in this country. So I want to break down this topic. I want to read to you a little bit from that task force I mentioned on 21st century policing to see if we can figure out what it's going to take to make a change. Here's the first bit I want to get your reaction to. In the report, they said, people are likely to obey the law when they believe that those who are enforcing it have authority that is perceived as legitimate. The public confers legitimacy only on those whom they believe are acting in procedurally just ways. And I want to make a distinction there between authority and power. Power, straight up force. In physics, that's an exchange of energy. In life, it's a punch in the eye. Authority is not like that. Authority implies a relationship. My students recognize, or they don't, my authority to teach them, to give them an assignment, to give them a grade, to have a dialogue, and so on. And without that recognition, I can't teach them. And I think it's the same way with other people in authority, like police. The community recognizes or does not recognize the authority that they deem legitimate. So, Elamine, if I can I start with you?
You can start with me.
Yeah, I wanted to see, could you share with us a story of a time when someone in the community resisted your authority and what you did to solve it?
Man, that's a loaded question. I mean, it happens all the time. And the way you put that, I really didn't think about it that way. I don't know if the main motive of people committing crimes is a lack of respect of the authority. Sometimes I believe it's just a need. You know, I got to get paid. I got to put food on the table. And this is how I know how to do it. I never looked at it as I'm going to do this because I don't respect the police. But I guess it could be that way. But man, it's 1,000 times that people have not wanted to do what I told them to do. But it really just depends. Sometimes they don't want to do it because they think it's petty. They think I'm just messing with them. But I never looked at it like they didn't respect the police, because I don't look at myself as the police, although I am. I'm a man first. So when I step to anybody, it's I'm a man coming to a man or a woman, a human being, and I'm asking you to do something. And yes, you see that I have my uniform on in my car. And if I'm talking to you, there must be a good reason I'm talking to you. So I expect them to do what I ask them to do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Most of the time, it's just, I don't know. To be honest with you, it's so many different variables. It could be the mood that they're in. It could be the how important is it for them to keep doing what they're doing and tell me to get going. And it could just be showing off for a female or their friends, or they might not just like me because I got a uniform on. That's part of it too. But I've never had anybody flat out say, I'm not going to do what you said because you're the police. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's been, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep doing this because it gets me money, and get out of my face.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I can take the question a different direction. And let me ask Dean and Stan and Kelvin, what can you think of a time when you resisted the authority of the police for whatever reason? Like, I mean, saying it could come out of need, coming out of what you're doing right now. You know, you're focused on getting paid, whatever the situation might be, but a time when you resisted the police. Dean, can I start with you?
I had a situation, I guess it was how the officers approached me, and it was how the officers tried to force me into doing something. You know, I guess it's if they say, all right, well, you know, if they respected me as a man.
I heard you saying you need to feel respected as a man, which is the same way Elamine began what he was saying. I'm a man before I am the police, whatever this category is. Kelvin, what's your take on that? Can you think of a time when you resisted the authority of the police?
Who are we talking to, Dave?
Oh, I asked Kelvin, but whichever one of you wants to go first, doesn't matter to me.
No, I'm on it. I enjoy listening. Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
This is a hard thought to kind of frame up in the bill of form. The brother's Elamine, right? His name is Elamine.
Elamine.
Yep. Elamine.
Yes, sir.
Elamine, thank you for being a part of our little structure.
No, man. Thank y'all for having me.
You know, I truly respect the title PR person. You don't send your worst, not when you want to shine. So you know, I respect that. I think that if I was an officer, right, the last thing I would want to do is to represent a collective group of officers right now. I would try to just stand alone, you know, and I gotta applaud you on that, but I gotta open that window up. I gotta open that door up.
Come on with it.
Okay. I'm a young man. I'm only 58. I was taught to be scared of the officers. I was taught to be scared of the officers by my father. In Richmond, when I was a young cat, there wasn't a whole lot of diversity in the Richmond Police Department. There was a whole lot of diversity so far as in management of the city and you know, elected officials and whatnot. The department have always ruled under the assumption of service, but through authority, through I'm gonna make you do this. I'm gonna make you do this. And that's the institutionalized part of it. And although you come in, right, as an individual, you got to get in the canoe. You got to get in the canoe that's already built that kind of says that everybody in the canoe is a part of us. And we've got to navigate through all of these different neighborhoods, through all of these different people, through all of these different situations. And we've got to hold true to each other. And if your father taught you how to be aggressive and his father taught him how to be aggressive, that's been passed down, even all the way down to your training.
Man, listen here. Let me throw this out here. I feel you. Now I was taught the same thing. Black people, we have the talk with our kids. I've done it with my kids. My dad had it with me. And even now, my hand's at 10 and 2 when I get pulled over by the police. Because I don't, you know, I got my regular clothes on. I drive a truck and I'm black everywhere I go. I don't know if y'all can see this behind me, but it's a picture I bought. It's a slave, well, actually an African fishing in Africa in the 1400s. And slave ships are coming unbeknownst to him. That is powerful to me because of what happened to us. So let me say this. Richmond started hiring Black people to be cops in the 1940s, but the Richmond Police Department is over 250 years old. So I hear you get in the canoe joint, but for Black, let me speak for myself. For me, I know the rules, but just like with a lawyer, I can use the rules to my advantage. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to enforce it like the next man. There's certain things that if somebody murders somebody, yeah, I got to take them away. But listen, we have what you call discretion. So I don't have to arrest everybody. I don't have to write a ticket every time. And if I'm being honest, man, listen, like my man Dean said, I lead with respect. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, I get respect back. The only time people buck on me, run, is when they got some real weight on them or they got some real time over their head. And I learned real quick, if I don't approach people with respect, man, they're going off on me, even for the littlest thing. And actually, I started the force when I was like 34, 35 years old. So I was older than a lot of cats. So I'm not that rah-rah dude. That's not my thing. I mean, if you push me, that's one thing. But I know when I treat a person a certain way, I usually get it back. And I ain't gonna lie, the people I deal with are Black, bro. So I speak the language because I'm Black. I came up, I ain't gonna say I came up in the hood, but my parents weren't rich. My mom was a school teacher. We were in a 2-bedroom house with 5 kids. So we ain't know we was poor. You know how it is. I don't find out that I'm poor until I see how people living on the other side of the tracks. But my whole point is that made me humble. And that approach works for me. Nobody's even taken a swing at me my 12 years as a cop. They've run from me, wrestle, but nobody's ever even tried to punch me. So I feel what you're saying, but it's a new day. Let me say that. I'm out here. I'm in the detention centers. I'm telling everybody that I think could use my help. Here are the rules. This is smarter. Do it this way so that you won't get beat upside your head. And then if you see the bad cops, let me know if you don't want to tell, because the thing is, this whole snitching thing, I can't believe people don't want to snitch on bad cops. But I tell them, tell me so I can get them out of here, because they make my job harder. They make me sick. I mean, we just had a joint the other day in Spotsylvania. I mean, see, I'm getting hyped. I don't want to hijack this thing, but there are a lot of people that should not be cops. They're afraid of people that look like you and me, and they should never, ever have a badge.
Yeah.
They clowns.
I'm gonna cut you off, Alameen. I had a question for you. I don't mean to get Dave off the subject, but I got a question. It's been on my mind for quite some time, and I wanted to know what's up. I was gonna walk up to a couple of officers and ask them, how? Okay, I understand. You know, you in uniform, and there's a code, and you know you can't do this. How do you feel as a Black man first, and an officer second? How do you feel about these young men and women getting killed by a fellow officer? You know, as a Black man, you know what I mean, as a Black officer, how do you feel about what's going on in the country right now? What's going on?
So this is an easy question. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. So, but here is the dilemma. I still got to do my job, and here's how I'm gonna put it to you, because everybody asks me that. What high school did you go to?
You want me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I went to high school in New York. Martin Luther King High School.
All right. Give me another high school in New York.
So many. John F. Kennedy.
All right, so that's fine.
Columbus.
If a high school kid at JFK shot somebody, and I come to you, you go to MLK, and I say to you, bruh, why are all the kids in high school going wild? Why y'all shooting people? What you gonna say? I'm asking you about a JFK kid, but you go to MLK, and I'm asking you why y'all killing everybody. What you gonna say to me? You gonna say I ain't got nothing to do with that, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know Derek Chauvin at all. He's a clown. I ain't got nothing to do with that dude. That is really how Stan touched on it. I am an individual. And the thing is, I've been answering these questions for years now, and I really want people to get it. I live in my house. I eat my food. I go to work, get a check, and come home. I'm blessed enough. I have my own squad car. I don't ride with anybody. I deal with the stuff that I see, and I deal with the way I want to deal with it, unless it's just blatant. You got rules, and my belief system comes out, and it's really from my mom and dad. That really supersedes the police stuff, to be quite honest with you. But I understand what you're saying. And listen, I have maybe like 5 cop friends, 5. And they all, not all of them are even at the Richmond Police Department. I work with those people, but really I'm working by myself. And if I see something stupid, I'm gonna say something. And the clowns don't do stupid stuff around decent officers. That's really how it is. It really how it is. Like you know some whack people, right? You know some clowns. That are clowns, but when they come around you, they stand up a little straight and they don't do the stupid stuff around you because they know you're gonna get at them. It's the same way with the police. So I get what you're saying, but it's kind of like asking me, well, why do black people like fried chicken? I'm like, what? Yes, I do like fried chicken, but don't ask me about all black people. Don't ask me about all cops. But my opinion, Farad's opinion is, I believe that cats who were probably bullied in school, or they're racist, or they got something going on in their life where they don't respect black human beings and they feel like they can do whatever they want. And they've been getting away with it for so long, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I believe that's a real attitude with some people.
Can I chime?
Yeah, please jump in. I'm sorry, I don't want to take over.
No, you're good. And Dean,
well, to be honest with you, right? You can't take over in this house.
No doubt.
Okay. We all know the problem, right? We all know the problem. You know, like that brother sitting back watching that ship, he has no idea, right?
No idea.
What's getting ready to get off of that ship.
Yeah.
And I guess the next picture would be running from that ship. You know, certainly not greeting it.
Yeah.
And let me kind of use a metaphor, right? That's African Americans right there.
Yeah.
And that's the police, right?
Yep.
My God, you know, what is getting out off of the ship? Certainly not someone, right, with good intent.
Right.
And that's scary because little be knowing, you know, without knowing, right, you can lose your life, white or black. The escalation Dave was talking about, the warrior, you know, and I would equate that, right? I look at your shoulders, you probably played a little sports, right?
Football, man, yes, sir.
Okay, so before the game, you got to get psyched out. You know, you got, I know broads that sell pussy, right? And before they go out there on the track, the authentic person who they are has to disappear.
Change, yes.
Right, and they've got to go into a role.
Yep.
You know, that role is what's hurting people.
Yes.
You know?
I like the way you put that, bro.
Hey, listen, I was kind of, you know, I was going to put my mask on and everything, right, in this interview, because I've never discussed what I thought could be solutions to this problem. I went and did a live video today, you know, and sharing with people, right, that you're not snitching on a guy who does an offense like that in the community, right? That's that's not snitching. That's saying, right, that I love my neighbors and I love my children more than I love this act. And I'm prepared to, that's policing.
Yes. Listen, so here's the thing. The police has a problem because of the way the police policed the past 100 years.
Agree.
Even beyond that, 200 years. And just like we were taught, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, sit straight. We're doing that, right? But now these youngins, they like, nah, why should I have to do that, right? Add that to the distrust of the police. People already don't trust the police. Then you got the kids who are inquisitive and they're not being disrespectful. They just don't understand, why do I need to get out of the car? And then you add a guy who shouldn't be a police officer in it. It only confirms the distrust the older generation had. They tell the youngins, yes, see what I told you? Then the youngins are saying, well, we need to get them out of here. Then the older generation is saying, well, no, you just need to sit down and be quiet, all this stuff. So, bro, I don't have the answer for the trust issue other than, one, I want older officers. Like I said, I started when I was 35. I'm saying don't even give anybody a badge until they're 35 years old, till they went through something. I had gone through a divorce. My mom had died. I had gone through a bunch of stuff. My house had been foreclosed on. I went through some things. You need some life experience. So when I went to a call, man, I wasn't hyped. You know how you say you put on the game? I don't change. The way I'm talking to you right now is the same way I am in the street. And I'm not scared. I'm really not scared. I know I'm gonna die. Ain't none of us getting out of here alive. Period.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, you got it.
Do you think in that formula, right? Even at war, when you go to war, you could actually, once you see blood, then you become a soldier.
I think time and place.
Yeah, I think that the officers need to be rotated where guess what? You're not on the street all the time. That you're involved in community service, you're involved in outreach, you're involved in this, you're involved in that. To give them an opportunity to decompressurize. You know, so that way when they go back out on the street, right, that they don't have a thirst for that mentality to straight up control. The reason why you didn't have issues is because from the moment that you got out of the car, right, it's all about how well you communicate.
Yes.
If I know I got a gun, right, and I don't really want to use it, I'm really going to communicate with you. But don't let your body language, right, don't let it be against communication.
Stan, you ain't lying. Watch this. We had a robbery on Hall and 34th. Two guys matched the descriptions. I ran up on them. I walked up on them. I said, what's good, fellas? They said, nothing, chilling. I said, no doubt. I say, look, it was a robbery around the street. Y'all match the description. I said, do y'all have guns? I said, just like that. They said, yeah. I said, all right. I said, where are they? One guy said, I got it in my pocket right here. Other dude said, my back pocket. I said, let me see them joints. So I get them. I look at them. I say, look, you can't conceal a weapon. Just hold up for me. I want to make sure y'all ain't robbing anybody. They're like, all right, cool. So they weren't the guys. I wrote them a ticket for having concealed weapons. The energy I believe that I bring to situations like that can really affect how things are going to go.
I agree.
If I run up on them with a gun out screaming and they got a gun, that startles them, that makes them upset. They're going to want to shoot me. If I walk up on them, what's good, fellas? Nothing, chilling. I might say, you see the game last night, blah, blah, blah. I want to break the ice to see where they at, because if they acting funny, I might back up if they got that nervous energy.
Yeah, but if you put a white guy, right, in that predicament that you're in, right, guess what? It comes out different simply because they don't speak the language. Hey, listen, you know,
hold up. Stan, actually, there are some. There's some good white boys. There are some real good white boys.
They got a preconceived notion from the gate. As soon as they see two black guys together, they got a preconceived notion that these guys are the ones that did the robbery. These guys might be
you're right. That does happen. That does happen.
You know what I mean?
Listen, here's the thing. I know some cool white cops is all I'm saying. So I can't throw it on all of them. But hear me out. Here's what I said, because Stan made a good point. So I'm a community officer now. I'm blessed to be able to do that. I did 6 years in the street. Now I do community stuff. So I go to classes, I teach and all this stuff. One of the kids told me, listen to this idea. She said in the academy, the officers who are about to become officers should have to do community service in the places they're going to police. So they need to be in Gilpin, picking up trash, getting kids off the bus, having lunch with the residents in a soup kitchen for 6 to 7 months, maybe a year. So now you know the kids' names, the residents' names. So you ain't gonna run up on cats because you know that's Miss Johnson. You know that's Mr. Jenkins. You know that's Shaquille over there. And even if you know Shaquille did it, you used to get Shaquille off the bus. You're gonna be less likely to shoot Shaquille, even though you know Shaquille did it. You're gonna be like, Shaquille, let me holler at you, man. And Shaquille might run, but you like, I know where Shaquille lives. I don't have to shoot him. I can go get a warrant. I can chill. And I'm saying there are ideas out there, bro, and I'm not gonna knock it down, but the difficulty of getting new ideas into an old system, bro. I'm trying. Let me say this. I'm trying. That's why I do calls like this.
You know what
I put it out in the universe, hoping it's gonna happen.
The Bible says.
I want to.
Let me get it, Dave. Let me get it. The Bible says, right, put a new wine in old skins.
Old wine skins, it don't work.
Yeah, but let me tell y'all something, right? And I'm gone, Dave. If y'all really want to be trained right, and I say this because I love humor and I like speaking the truth, y'all need to be trained by Andy Griffin. You know, Andy Griffin I never saw him shoot his gun. Otis was cool with it. Andy always found middle ground. I Dave.
No. You actually, Dan, you once again perfectly got me to exactly where I wanted to be. I hadn't thought about Andy Griffith, but I was thinking about training.
I'm enjoying talking to this brother. I got to do it some more.
No, we're
not today, but I'm enjoying this. I apologize, Dean. My brother KB, I apologize.
I gotta get you on. I gotta get you at the comedy joint as we open
up. Okay. In that same report, they talked about training, and they talked about training for everything that you're talking about: sensitivity, bias, but also mental health screening. You know, and tact and all this stuff. I want to ask you, you said that you have like 5 friends that are police. You don't know everybody. Richmond Police Department's huge. How could you know everybody? What is your sense that it's likely going to work to have training like that so more officers could interact the way you're describing yourself interacting?
Man, now here's the thing about training. I think training is okay. I think it's more about the hiring process, man. To be quite honest with you, because you can train me to do X, Y, Z. But here's the thing about training. I'm not going to die in training. We got blue guns. We have paint bullets. I was never really scared in training. I was only scared of losing my job. I never thought I was going to die, or I never thought I was going to kill anybody. Now, you get out in the street and you might die. People behave totally different when they're really afraid. You understand? So what I'm saying is that's why I think the age thing is, I think that needs to be something. You have some real life experience. You feel me? And you know who I would like to have in training? People who have went away for a while. The people who have taught me the most are my kids over at Bon Air.
Yeah.
The stuff they tell me and the way they like, look, the only time I really am chill around a cop is when they do X, Y, Z. And why do y'all do this? They do that to me, right? And I'm like, nah, well, I explain them training this and third day, like, well, when you do that, this makes us feel a certain way, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I learned so much from them.
Right.
So much.
Hey,
So I take that back
can
to
I
the
say
street.
something?
No, you got it.
Kelvin, go ahead.
I've been sitting here. I've been trying to be quiet because everybody wants to hear what they got
My
to
bad,
say.
you
I
got it.
wanted to speak on the first question. I never get a chance to say that, but I just want to say this because I know time's short. You got clowns of both colors, black and white. You got cool cops, white and black. But the problem is what they go do in that moment. Everybody make a decision in a moment that might be good or might be bad. You know, and like he was saying, that person might be cool all the way up until that moment, might not be scared all the way up until that moment. You might not know what you might do in that moment. The same way I made a mistake in my moment, or I made the wrong move within certain moments. But it takes somebody special to say they would step out there to do something different. And I met his officer, when he came to our class. Well, my first thought was, Dave, we don't need to be sharing our concept with somebody. We don't know what this man will do. A police officer too, but before we even left out there that day, he seemed to be a sincere person. And listening to him now, I really think that you're doing a good job, man. Keep on pushing your program, because I heard you say that you're gonna keep pushing it, so that means it's not moving like it should be. But
I appreciate that, man.
Times ain't the same as they were, and it's gonna get even harder. But just keep on trying to do that and keep pushing forward. And like I told you back then, is when you need me to come do anything while you're in there, just let me know.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you, man.
Let me clarify just a few points of fact. Elamine referred to Bon Air a minute ago. That's Bon Air Juvenile Correction Center, and he worked there with the youth incarcerated there. And Kelvin referred to the class a second ago. That's our criminal justice diversion program, Writing Your Way Out, where Elamine was a guest speaker and participant one evening. Kelvin, I wanted to ask you a follow-up question. The same one I asked Elamine a minute ago. It's related to training. He was talking about training of officers, and he mentioned a minute ago, officers need to be required to live in the community, at least spend a lot of time in the community you're going to be serving, so you get to know the kids and the residents and everybody else before you start arresting them and pulling out a gun or anything drastic like that. And that makes a lot of sense to me. It also kind of echoes what the task force recommendation said, that communities should be working together on solutions to public safety, which is everybody's best interest. So, Kelvin, I know you work a lot with kids. Just refer to you as KB. It's something that I've been wanting to ask you, but I really want to ask everybody. Do you think it's possible to reach kids who are traveling down that road that you were once traveling and help them figure out a way to trust police or to work with the people in their community on solutions to their common problem?
That's messed up. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you start, KB, then I'll go to Dean.
Yeah, well, like I was about to say, it's kind of messed up for you to ask me this question, because, within that question is my goal and my purpose for even joining the book. I just want to have one child. If I can have one child, not follow my path for what I've been through in life, then I've achieved my goal, and I've done that by being an influence on some kids in your class that changed their major, by helping out through the diversion program, thanks to Dean and Stan for giving me a chance to step in and help out with that, and by helping train in the jump, right? I've been able to deal with a lot of kids at that age, at teenage age, and also at a young age, and able to help turn the tides, change some thought processes in some young men that you could easily see we're heading in the same direction as me. Had parents sign waivers so that I could help do so. So I do believe that if you start talking to them as early as possible, and the real thing is whether or not they can get a grip at what you're saying. really have to be good with kids, with teenagers, with people to be able to get to a child. So, you know, to be able to go into an institution and wear a badge and work with kids and they accept you as that and not be rebellious, it means that you're a special person. The same way it is to be able to go into jail as an ex-person that's been locked up and be able to influence people and be able to talk to them and get them to accept what you're saying is a big thing. You know, so I believe not only can you do it with younger kids and teenagers, but also adults and folks our age that may be just starting out.
Yes. Dean, go ahead. Tell me your take on that.
I think, well, I commend Alameen, because I know it's an uphill battle. You know what I mean? Because, you know, some kids are stuck in their ways. Some kids are trying to fit in. So this is something that sometimes they don't want to do, but circumstances and certain situations put them in that vulnerability state. Mm-hmm. You know, they either get bullied or they scared to get bullied. You know, so if to me, I think if we could catch them at an early age before they even get started down that road. You know what I mean? And that's where I want to come in at. I want to come in like the age of 6 and 7 and 8 before they even get transformed or manipulated into doing something foolish and crazy that might get them in trouble. You know, and then also you have to talk to the parents. Mm-hmm. You know, so I like what Alameen is doing. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
I don't care if you got you got the blue uniform on or not. You still my brother.
My man. I appreciate it, bro.
You know, I really commend you, bro, because hey man, it's tough out here, man. These especially underprivileged youth of color. You know, even Caucasian. You know what I mean? It's tough, man. It's tough, especially this day and age, man. When you see somebody might have on some Jordans, and then you got on some beat up sneakers, and you know all that stuff plays with your mind. You know, so I just go back to when I was coming up. You know, I seen other kids with sneakers and other kids with different kind of clothes and stuff like that, and I was like, damn, I want to get that. My mom was like, I can't afford that. Mm-hmm. You know, so you have to. It's a lot of things that plays into how that child is coming up and the community that child is growing up in. You know, so like I said, I commend you, Alameen.
I appreciate that, man. And there's another aspect to it, man, that people don't know. These kids, because of the system that we have, are getting gaudy years thrown at them. I had one kid committed a crime. He shot a guy. Man, they gave him 44 years. He was 17.
Oof. Wow.
The thing is, I'm like, how do you give a 17-year-old 44 years? But listen to this, to God be the glory. So he was in our program, and this is one of my proudest moments. He'd been working with us. He had been doing what he was supposed to do in our Bon Air. Man, don't you know the judge took off 40 years of his time?
That's great.
To bat for him, 40 years, man. Look, I'm a crybaby. I cried right there in front of everybody. I wanted them to take all the time away, but they didn't. But anyway, it's stuff like that certain police departments are doing. But that doesn't make the news, man. And that's why I'm working with the kids, because just like I'm chopping it up with y'all right now, I get to do that with them And before COVID, I was playing basketball with him too. I take him a pizza and we just chop it up. And I'm not even preaching to him every day. We just kicking it. And my idea is they see a dude, yeah, I'm an old head now, but I can see myself making an honest living. Maybe not as a cop, but I can have a house, wife, dog, kids, and all that stuff without being a stick-up kid. And like I said, but there's a system still out there that needs to change, that are throwing stupid years at these kids, man, for their first offense. And I want that to change too, along with get the bad police officers out. But you got judges hanging these kids, and you ain't even got a chance. And you know it ain't like that for everybody.
Right. You played sports, played football.
Mm-hmm.
I played football too. I couldn't wait to hear the quarterback call my play. I couldn't wait to hear the quarterback call my play, right?
Yeah, man.
And the reason why I'm saying that, right, is because even though you may get out the car, right, and the play might be for you to block, right, or for you to run a down and out, right, but the other officer that got out of the car, right, he can't wait to go straight down the middle, dive straight down the middle. And guess what?
And that's going to mess everything up.
That's going to mess everything up, right? Because you were under the impression that this was called fake the 41, fake the 41, fake the 41, and run the 32 sweep or run the 48 sweep, But when you got out of the car, y'all wasn't on one accord.
We were on the same page.
Bruh,
that's the best analogy I ever heard in my life.
Hey, listen, man.
Fake the 41, yeah. Fake the dive.
Yeah, that's a fake.
Yeah, bro.
I saw you there pulling your gun. That ain't the call.
Come on, man.
We gotta get Stan on stage, man.
Okay.
No, we gotta talk to the people.
Man.
You gotta speak.
Can I say something about that?
Speak the language of the people.
Yeah.
Stan.
Stan,
let me say this about what you just said right fast, right? Truth to the matter is what you said and what you speaking about, you say you love humor. The best thing about humor is the truth will make you laugh at any moment. If you put Officer Alameen in a car with a redneck officer, the person not gonna get killed.
Yep.
I'm a common sense person.
Yep.
I know that it doesn't have to be somebody that's out here in the community doing what he got to do. We need him to keep doing what he's doing.
right.
But if you have enough black officers, why aren't they riding with the white officers that shouldn't be in these neighborhoods anyway? Because they don't know the people of the neighborhood.
They should be in the neighborhood, but with a guide. There should never be two black officers. There always should be one white, one black, one Chinese,
exactly.
one. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll train each other in the car before they get out the car. They got to be on one accord.
Man, listen, y'all gonna get me in trouble. The thing is, I agree with a whole lot of what y'all saying. The way it is, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Some departments, they don't think that there's a problem.
Yeah.
So they just keep doing it the same way they do it until something happens. And let me tell you this. It's funny you should say that. Now, I ain't saying I was riding with a redneck, but we got a cat that ran from us with a butcher knife. We end up in the creek down by Dunston over South Side. Dude pulled out on my boy, cut his throat. He ain't cut it deep, but my boy's bleeding. We wrestling him. My boy take his gun out, white boy, put the gun on my man's lips, right on his nose, about to shoot him. I'm on the other side of the dude. I'm like, no. I'm like, we got him. And we ain't have him, but I'm like, we got him. And the funny thing is, the guy we were fighting relaxed when I said we got him. We wrestled him some more. We didn't shoot him, took him away. We actually got an award for that. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't make the news. But what you said, that actually happens. If you with me, ordinarily, I'm the oldest officer. And you acting funny, and this is for black and white officers. If I see you acting squirrely, I'm like, no, just stay in the car. You all right, just chill. And then I'll talk to you. And I got a million stories like that where I tell an officer, not just rookies, I like, hey, yo, this is why I did this, and this is why we didn't do that. I said, because this was going to go left, and I'm telling you, this is not anyway, that does happen. I want y'all to know that does happen. And when you don't see that story on the news, that's a cop doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and that's another form of the systematic system playing sides and manipulating the process.
Mm-hmm.
We all can agree. We just heard a story of a guardian, not a warrior. True?
Yeah. Hey, I'm a warrior. I went to Henrico High School, so I am a warrior, technically.
Technically a warrior. But that was a beautiful story. What I like to think a force of guardians would be like, and you all jumped the gun on me on my last questions to round out our show as to what you would do to change things so that we have a force of guardians. We heard about reaching the families, the youth from Dean. We heard about changing the culture of the departments, not hiring certain people. I want to give you all one last chance to kind of round it out and tell me what you want to see next for policing. I'm going to give you all like a one shot at this. What do you want to see next to make our city better, restore trust in the community, and save more people from dying? Let me start with you, Dean, and then we'll go around.
Yeah. All right. I feel like we have to get the police department and other authority figures to not pass the buck. We need them to really get and to really connect with the community. They say, okay, yeah, we need the community to do this and do that. Only time they ask for the community help is when they're trying to, I guess, solve a crime. We need them in the communities, like Alameen said. When he gets out, he gets them to relax.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way the community is going to relax is when we have true transparency.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
Go ahead.
That's just me.
No, that's a great point. We haven't talked about transparency and accountability. That's a great thing you mentioned there. Kelvin, how about you?
Yeah, I already plan to speak up because we already gonna make sure Stan finish this thing on out here. Yeah. But look, no, but seriously though, I want to always try to make it as short and simple as possible. I'm a common sense type of guy, and what you said, transparency and accountability goes a long way. But like was said at the beginning, I think he said 200 years back or 100 years back.
250 years.
Yeah, that's a whole lot to try to bring up to date.
Mm-hmm.
Need to cut that to a certain point where there was somebody trying and folks were in the neighborhood, because when I was a kid, the officers were, the good ones were right there. You always seen them. You always knew who they was when they worked in your neighborhood. We don't have that anymore. We went through a period where it was a lot of bad officers. Things were crazy. And now we just to a point where we're allowing things to happen the same. We allow things to happen out here in society. And with all this video and all these things going around, we need to really get the accountability up when it comes to not just the people that are doing the crimes and whether they wearing a badge or not, but the people that's making the decision to hide them, and the people that's making sure that it's easier to cover up or just let go. And we need to stop forgetting things that happen within 6 months of what's going on. And get stuff going the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Stan.
I think that the first thing is I think that officers need to understand that because of technology, the average citizens has a general understanding of their rights. Mm-hmm. And when you approach them, right, don't approach them in a position as they may not know their rights, because even if they don't know their rights, you know their rights. Mm-hmm. That's the first step. That's the first step. I think that every place that this gentleman steps, so far as to shed a different light on the Richmond Police Department, I think that he needs to take a person that truly understands the community and their language and speaks with validity. And so many times we think those are church-going people and all of that, right? No, a lot of times, right, it's the people that actually have doused themselves with the cologne of negative behavior and mm-hmm. just, just learn how to clean themselves up. And you gotta, in order for this city, right, y'all, in order for y'all to really take the city, y'all gotta woo the city. You remember Life? You remember that movie, yep. Life, where he said, stop pitching woo? Y'all have to.
Well, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, y'all gotta start psychologically figuring out how to pitch woo. Bruh. I don't blame. I'm giving him a pass. I get down with it, right? I get down with it, but it's for some reason the message is going through my sense of humor, because I believe it's gonna take a smile to de-escalate everything.
Bruh, that's the best way to teach. Please believe it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Elamine. What's your for the future?
Man, y'all gonna have me following Stan. Look here.
Well, you're the honored guest, man. We gotta have you last.
Yeah, but that's a setup. So listen, I want older people, honestly. I want older people, and I want them to change the rules on who can be cops. Like I said, I do what I do because of my life experience. My mom was a teacher. I was actually in customer service at Verizon until I was 34. Mm-hmm. So I ain't even like cops growing up. I didn't want to be a cop. I only did it to pay my bills. And my plan was to go through the academy and then get another job. And 12 years later, here I am. But the way I see it is, it's all about the people. And we need to recruit teachers. We need to recruit cats who's turned a new leaf. Here's what I'm saying. Yeah. But if y'all were with me wearing the blue, bruh, we were crushing. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, now see, you give me the side eye. You asked me how to fix it. If I got Stan, KB, and Dean, and we rolling in the car one night, it ain't gonna be no trouble. You understand me? They gonna get out one. They ain't gonna keep them laughing. They gonna laugh at me because I'm so small. And Dean gonna give them that New York gangster talk. We gonna win, bro. And y'all think I'm playing? I'm not playing. When people respect people to get out the car off top from the gate, they chill out. Better. It really does.
It goes a lot better.
People know that I know Ray. They like, oh, you know Ray Neville. I'm like, yeah, that's my man. And when he speak on my behalf, when I ain't even around, and then they say, oh, you Elamine. Bro, that does so much for me. You don't understand. What I'm saying is, to wrap it up, we need better people.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
And I'm glad you reconnected and met some of these fine people from Writing Our Way Out.
Fine gentlemen.
That's our show. Thanks for listening. And thank you, Farad Elamine. Thank you, Dean Turner. Thank you, Kelvin Belton. And thank you, Stan Craddock. If you want to learn more about this show or hear previous episodes, go to writingourwayout.com. You can also listen to the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where I hope you'll subscribe and leave a review. We would love to hear from you. You can email directly from the website, or you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The theme music for Writing Our Way Out, the podcast, was written and produced by Chris Coogan. You can learn more about him at cooganmusic.com. The show is produced by Rob Crocker, a PhD student in media, art, and text at Virginia Commonwealth University, and his faithful team of interns from the Robertson School of Media and Culture. Thank you again for your support, and we'll see you next time on Writing Our Way Out, the podcast.